So I'm going to let me just find this and I'll share the screen. Where is it gone? There we go. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if anyone's having an issue with seeing it at all. Okay, cool. So can everybody see this homepage, Twitch TV homepage? Yeah, cool. So, yeah, excellent, cool. So basically, I'm sure you've all had a look by now, but this is the kind of page that you come into straight away when you enter Twitch. And I guess as a little overview, as to what it is that it's a service you can use to store your videos and also live stream your videos. It's most commonly used for gameplay, so big within the gaming community, and a lot of musicians use it as well, which is quite interesting. I saw yesterday when I was on here like a live DJ school, which was quite cool. I hadn't seen anything like that on here before. So this panel here is your I guess most popular live streaming right now, which shows a lot of people playing horrible first-person shooters and things like that, and also sometimes some art stuff, some music stuff. I actually found the first time I was looking at Twitch ever this really hilarious thing, which is like it's a weekend long non-stop Bob Ross channel, so you can watch Bob Ross all weekend non-stop, which I think is really funny. And so there's things like that, but also obviously you can use it for if we go down into the sections, you've got sections for chat, other games, specific games, and then you've got an art section. And so my internet's a bit slow, so apologies for this, but a lot of it is instructional videos, so showing you, and it's got quite a large emphasis on digital stuff, although there are, as you can see here, some like live sculpting, which is quite interesting. But then it's got this kind of like, you know, fantasy. They're usually sculpting like a character from a game or something like that. Otherwise, there's a lot of stuff showing you how to use programs, which is quite interesting. Yeah, a lot of Blender, digital design stuff. And then you come across stuff that is just like people who are making like sound and live artwork, which is really kind of interesting, because in the charts, which is kind of seems to me the most effective way that people find your stream. So that's this like line up here, and it's dependent on your hits and your traffic. The most part is this kind of like digital art thing, but when you get something that's performance or something else, it's really interesting. And I've seen it kind of come up, and the hits that you get are quite something. They kind of grow quite quickly because it isn't what you'd normally see in the lineup in the art tag. So that's something that's quite interesting. But then again, if it's something that you wanted to use for teaching, so I just click on this video, for instance. So this is the live sculpting class, and so it means that, so I'm going to talk a little bit later as well. Oh, let me stop the sound. I'm going to talk a little bit later as well about how you can use another program to add all of these little, your chat section, another camera angle, so that you could use it as a tool for teaching if you wanted to. it's quite nice as a format because you're able to have a live chat similar to how you have in Zoom, but it is kind of more, because you can have it right here in your screen. You're constantly watching it and stuff like that. It gives you kind of a better accessibility to be able to just engage in a conversation with the people who are watching the class. So yeah, that's quite an interesting feature. And then yeah, there's a lot of people who do all sorts of stuff like that are just talking. So I think that is one of the main differences, is it's that people, it's kind of like YouTube, but it's people have channels where they just talk to people and respond to comments, and that's like how they make their money. It's quite strange, but it's interesting anyway. So I'll show you a profile. I'm sure you've maybe had a look at this, but this is what it looks like when someone would look at your profile after you've kind of set it up. So this is Double OK's profile. So this is kind of like your cover photo or test card. This is where, if you go live, you have the video, and this little side kind of description is also where you can click through to a full screen video version of that, but this gives you like a little preview. So you can set that to be whatever you want it to, and I can show you a little bit about how to do that later. So this is also your schedule, so if you were to have a stream, it will tell the viewer when your next stream will be, and so they'll know, okay, so at 8 there's going to be a show on Friday. And then you can also store past videos as well, which I don't think Double OK have anymore. You can store them for a time, or you can store them infinitely. You can have it so that you have your stream directly just upload straight to here, so you have all of your streams forever on here, which is quite cool as well. And then you have an about section. So this is like an expanded kind of intro to what you're about, what you do. And then you can do things like add your socials, which is quite interesting. So you can add your Instagram, or you can add your Twitter or website, or whatever you want to put here. And you can do that, and it's actually really, really easy to do. You just have to go to the extensions section of Twitch. So it's in your drop down menu on Twitch, and then you can choose from all of these different things. So you can have like if you make sound, you can have a link to your Mixcloud or SoundCloud, or yeah, basically anything you want. People have already made like an extension, a little widget that you can put straight in there, which is quite interesting. Now, cool. So yeah, so there's that section, and I will kind of go into the settings a little bit as well. So this is your general settings panel. I was thinking about walking through actually setting up Twitch, but it is really, really user friendly. It's like setting up any social media, anything. It's very, very simple. You don't have to do anything out of the ordinary or know anything more than you already do to make an Instagram or you just need your email and to remember a password and all of that sort of usual stuff. So anyway, so this is your kind of main settings area. So a really important thing to remember about Twitch is this thing up here, your primary stream key. So that is it's really important that you don't give that out or show it online or send it to anyone, because if you do, then people can just take over your stream at any time with whatever they want, which isn't that desirable. It happens to people, and it's not the best thing. So just make sure that that is kept to yourself. You are able to reset it, but it's one of those things when you have a password, it's kind of like not a password that you set, it's like an auto-generated passwords with loads of numbers and letters. So you end up having to remember your password and then have your other device to offset it. So it becomes like one of those really long-winded password nightmares that you just don't want to deal with. So just don't give it out. So yeah, that's that. And then the rest of it basically is very, very self-explanatory. So like you can store your past broadcasts if you want to do it there. Mature content filter. And then things like latency mode. It's probably best for any of us using it because we're not going to be, I don't know, maybe you guys are like secret online gamers, but you're probably not going to be using it for streaming games. So low latency mode is what we'd use for like classes or yeah, anything that's just inputting video or multi-channel or performance stuff or anything like that. So yeah, the rest of it is just pretty simple. So profile picture, which you can upload, background color of your profile, so you can set it to whatever you want with the color picker, your image at the top, username, bio, you know, all very, very kind of like, we're quite used to that kind of format because of other websites and social media. And then the banner that you have, so this is like your holding image for where your video will normally play. So you can, so this is your real test card clown thing. You can have whatever you want. You can, yeah, so I just have a thing of me performing, so people think maybe something's about to happen when it's not. And then, yeah, again, your social links. If you fill this in here, it's even easier to add them into your add-ons, like I showed you on Double OK's profile. It basically makes it like 2 clicks of a button to add those widgets on, which is quite nice. Yeah, and the rest of it you really don't need to worry about when you're starting out or not doing anything particularly technically demanding of Twitch itself. So yeah, I think that's basically it for like a real short overview. So I think maybe if anyone has any questions at the moment, maybe we should stop for those. If not, then I can carry on.
I have a question. Just from the perspective of actually what you use it for. So you can create your own, this is your own television channel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so it's basically like your Twitch is your host. So I'm going to go on in a little minute to talk about things that you use as your broadcaster. So this, yeah, Twitch is effectively your channel, and then your profile is your channel inside of that channel. Which,
wow, that's deep.
It's deep, man. It's real deep. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's you can do anything you want with it, which is really interesting, and it seems pretty streamlined to do. There's so many things, which is really exciting actually. It's been really nice to look into it because I was like, I thought it was just for gamers and.
Well, that was my other question. The front page is quite intimidating if you don't know, sort of if you're not in that world. Well, no, I'm not, a bit old. So presumably you send people the link to your channel.
Totally, yeah.
They don't see any of the rest of the stuff.
No, if I sent you my profile, it would just come up with this, and you would be like,
yeah,
okay, I know these
yeah.
things. It's not like, oh, why are they
Less
playing?
anime and more
Yeah, yeah,
something you recognize. Yeah, cool.
exactly. And I there are ways that you can make this even more kind of customizable as well, so you can have all sorts of stuff going on. But this is kind of like a simple kind of, to show you that it's, you don't have to adhere to the scary gaming format. Yeah.
If you were to put something up and send a link, the people who you send the link to, do they have to be existing Twitch users in order to access the content and view what you've put up there?
No, they don't have to be. If they want to comment, there is a way that you can change your comments that anyone can comment on them. But if you want people to be able to be involved in the conversation, then they do have to have a Twitch account. But you don't have to have any picture or anything. You can literally just get a Twitch account just to be involved in the conversation or workshop or whatever. Yeah, and I think the setup probably takes no more than 15 minutes initially for anyone to do it. It's very simple.
Right. So a little bit slower than Zoom to get involved, but not much, basically.
Yeah, not much. Not much. And I think like my experiences with doing stuff on Zoom have been a lot more complicated than doing it on Twitch.
Right, yeah. Good to know. Okay, thank you.
No worries. Cool. Has anyone else got any questions, or should I carry on? No?
I think carry on. I was wondering if at the end there'd be time to have a little discussion, because I know that Sarah has been doing some stuff online, and it'd be good to hear what everyone thinks.
For sure. Yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go into talking a little bit more about OBS, which is another program, but essential really to going live on Twitch. There are lots of different, so basically what OBS is it's free, so anyone can download it. It doesn't take very much space on your computer. And so it stands for Open Broadcaster Software. So it's like free for everyone. It's pretty accessible. There is just a little bit of initial boring technical making sure everything's going to run smoothly part to it. So that is what I'll kind of talk to you about. But the reason that it's really great is, I mean, it's number one, free. And if you're familiar with using any kind of editing suite whatsoever, like any kind of Photoshop or anything like that, it will be very, very simple for you. And even if not, it's very user friendly. And yeah, so the reason that a lot of people use it is because you are really easily able to have those multiple windows, so you can put in multiple views of videos, your webcam, like a finished product of what you might be showing, or you can put multiple videos if you're doing like a live stream. So yeah, essentially it's kind of like an even simpler format of Photoshop but for moving image, or like your broadcasting desk, everything you need but like really condensed down and simplified and in your computer. So yeah, so basically it's going to get a little bit technical for a couple of minutes. But if you have any questions while I'm doing it, please ask. And as I say, there's that reading list as well. So that will make it a little bit clearer, I hope, as to the ins and outs of things. So I'm just going to put this on because there's a bit that I have to protect my IP address with, and I'm going to do it through this video. Not that I think that you're going to be, but I don't really trust Zoom more than I don't trust you. Hang on 1 second. And I'm going to launch OBS, but not from here because it doesn't work so well.
I think it's not that I think any of us artists are going to be able to work that out, but I think that's a very good thing to do, hide your IPS address. You never know.
Yeah, you never ever know. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the loading
You're
thing.
the stream gods. Did anybody else read that?
Yeah, it has nice fun little things that it says while it loads.
It appeals to me.
So mine, you might notice that my screen is flickering. It's because my processor is not very capable. I've basically got a glorified iPad, so this is why it's having a problem. So yeah, to begin, this screen here is your main, that's what you're gonna kind of load everything into. It's like your canvas, basically. This is what people will see on your stream. So there is that part there, and then so yeah, you've got your scenes as well. So this is I've put some videos in there just so you can see. So these are almost like, if you're familiar with Photoshop, these are almost like layers. But they're also like, you know, scenes if you're thinking of a film. So yeah, you can put as many as you want in there for whatever you need to do. These are your sources. So the sources are like your media source, so that's like your video or your webcam or pictures that you want to use, or sound. So basically all of the media that you want to input into your channel or program. And then your mixer as well, which is actually quite it's just a very simple audio mixer. Mainly with this version, which is the latest version, you don't have that much ability to actually customize your sound apart from turning stuff down, which is, it's basically all you're going to need, really. There is another mixer which I can go through a little bit later, but that's only if you're plugging in loads and loads of external sounds, or like if you're using like a mixer or other kind of hardware for your live stream, that you'll need that. Or if you're using like 9 microphones or something like that, which maybe you want to do, I don't know. So yeah, and then so these buttons down here, and I'm also gonna just note that there will be different versions for whatever your device is, and the layout will differ ever so slightly, but most of this is going to be very, very similar. So they might be that these are like up at the top of your screen or somewhere else, but they all do the same things and they should be pretty similar. So the thing that I've found most helpful while I've been kind of playing with the OBS is your studio mode. So this is just like your basic editor mode. And your studio mode is here, which is just this little kind of like almost book like emoji. So you've got your 2 screens like you would on a broadcaster desk. So you've got your, basically you've got your edit. So this is what you're going to show. So if I click to a new scene, it will show you what that new scene is going to be, and then you can click your transition, and it then changes to that next scene. So this is your live, and this is what you're about to put on your live, basically. So then you're not kind of like blind just putting stuff in. You can kind of preview what it might look like before you queue it up to go on your channel. So that's been quite helpful. And then, yeah, there's other things, but I really wouldn't worry about these right now. For you kind of streaming or doing classes or whatever, you're not going to need the rest of this business. Also, with this transition section, you can find loads and loads and loads of open source transitions. So you can do, like, you know, how you can make fun transitions happen on PowerPoint and stuff like that. You can get loads of free ones that people make, and most of them actually look really, really great. They're not kind of like PowerPoint transitions, they're kind of more TV standard. So I've in some of the videos that I've included in the reading list, they provide free open source transitions that the people who have made the YouTube videos have made for people to download for free. So you can do that as well, but I'll talk a bit more about that later. I'm going to talk about the settings now. So this is I'm actually going to stop that flickering in the background because it's just a bit insane. Hang on. There we go. There we go. Right, so settings. So you have got your just going to move you down a little bit. You've got your general settings. So this is a lot of stuff that you really don't have to worry about. Most of it is just standard, and it will be in line, like native to your device already, because you've downloaded the version for your device. So it just all comes as it should be just to start streaming, basically. So this is just stuff like how your kind of cursor feels on the page and all of that sort of stuff. Really don't have to worry about it at all, unless you want to adapt the language from English to anything else that you feel more comfortable using. And then this section here, the streamer section, is where you can link up your accounts to go live through. So you can use OBS on like endless streaming websites. So you can use it with Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Mixcloud, basically anything. But this is where you sync up your accounts. With Twitch, it's quite simple to do. You know, I spoke earlier about your streaming code and not showing it to anyone and all of that stuff. So with Twitch, with most of the newer versions of OBS and Twitch, they're already semi-connected. So you don't have to put your streamer code in. You can just log into both of them and link them up, sort of like you would with I don't know if you've done it, but if you have another app and you sign in with Facebook, it's kind of like that. It's already linked, which is a safer and easier way to do it. There are some streaming platforms that aren't Twitch that don't do that. So that's when you'll need to use that streamer code. But we'll come back to that. So yeah, this is basically like, let's go to video settings first. So this is your video settings. This is often already configured, but sometimes it isn't configured to your computer. So basically this is just you just have to then, if it looks a bit weird and you're like, okay, why does it look stretched, or why does it look weird on the screen, this is quite likely to be why. Or if it looks really blurry, or if it's just not working at a glance, this is probably where you need to go to just change your base canvas and your scale as well. So that's something that you can find really easily. It's usually in your settings, or like about this Mac or about this computer, in your computer. And so you can find what your base resolution is. So that's basically just like the way that your screen looks, and you just want to match it up, and then you'll have a better quality feed, basically. My output is downscaled at the moment just because I'm running Zoom as well as OBS, and my computer sounds like it's about to take off when I do that. So that's why that's like that. You can also, if you're interested in, if you're having your stream is quite kind of jumpy, or you're getting not as good quality, you can also find out which one of these settings is best for what you're doing. For generally for classes and video and stuff like that, usually the bilinear setting is the best, but it can vary device to device, so it's just something to watch out for. So yeah, if you're having any issues with your video, just come to this and just check that you're running your base canvas size at what your actual screen is running at, and that should help you. And then I'm going to go to audio settings, which are very, very simple. You really don't have to concern yourself that much with them. Again, they will be usually set to kind of your device's native settings, which is how it should run properly. You have the option here, if you're feeling really fancy, to change this. So you've got so you've got the option for stereo, mono, and then loads of other options here. You can do surround sound apparently for your stream if that's something that you wanted to do or needed to do for any reason, but probably not. So then always just stereo is fine. And then these options here are for if you want to add another sound input from an internal program, are these desktop audio devices. Otherwise, if you wanted to put something like a mic, an additional mic that didn't run as your key audio, it would go in here, and you can it would just be added in this drop down, and you can just click on it, and then that other mic you can access through OBS as well. Some mics will automatically do it and just join as a secondary mic, but if you're not getting a secondary mic through, then just come to this setting here. You can also add things like, I don't know if you're a musician, like an instrument with MIDI capability, or like anything like that's a synthesizer, or just anything that can be programmed through a mixer, basically, through here. And the same thing, you can just select it on your drop down. yeah, so that is the audio settings. And then you got output options. So with this, you want to keep it to simple until you really know what you're doing with this, because it becomes just like a little bit too wild and scary. So yeah, simple mode at the top. And then so this bit is annoyingly a bit complicated, but quite important for your streaming. And like I've said 100 times, it's usually going to be already set to your device and optimized for you to stream straight away, but sometimes that just doesn't happen. So in the case that that doesn't happen, and you want to stream nice and smoothly, and it's not happening, and it's really like you can't hear any audio, OBS will tell you that you're missing frames, and it will come up straight away with a big red alert. So you want to come here to your streaming options, and it's good practice to obviously try it all first, but it is possible to drop your stream and then come and just change this very quickly and pick it up again. So basically, the video bitrate is an important thing. The way that you find your optimum video bitrate is a combination of two things. So the first of those things is using a internet speed website. There is one in the reading list that is free and not affiliated with Google, so that's always a handy thing. So I'm going to show you using this video, because it will bring up your IP address when you do this, so make sure that yeah, you're not like using a projector into the street or whatever while you're doing this. And so basically yeah, so this will just run us through how to do that. Hang on. Okay. So, no, not this bit. Sorry. Hang on. The internet. Here we go. Okay, so we want the bit where you show us. There we go. So yeah. So stream key bit again. So let's just see where it goes next. Hold on, sorry. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it does come up next to the website. So it's a combination of two things which I've sent you links to. This is the website, and the website is called www.speedtest.net, and I have included a link as well. But so what you do on this site is that you go to settings, and then you change your speed to kbps, because that's what OBS uses. And then it will run your internet speed basically for upload and download speed. What you need is your upload speed. You just need to take note of whatever this number says. It will say whether your connection's fast or slow or whatever. So you get a general gist of what you're going to be working with. So yeah, you take this number here, take note of it, and then there's a really handy section on Twitch on the FAQs, which I've also included in the little list, that you can cross-reference it with. So you basically take that number, your internet speed number, and cross-reference that number with the quality of your screen and also the average frames per second of your video, which you can find out by just right clicking whatever video you want, whatever video you're using. Most regularly it's going to be 60 frames per second if you're running from a webcam or something for teaching. So yeah, it's just about kind of going through this, finding that number that we've searched through the speed test, and you can just go through all of these options and it will tell you what you need then to input back into your bitrate setting here. So because my computer's like not dealing with things very well at the moment, I'm on sorry, let me stop this video. So I'm on, yep, you can go away. 4,500 bitrate, but it will be completely dependent to your device, basically. Yeah, and it should be inputted as you need, but often if you start inputting, the more media you start inputting, the more likely it is that you're going to have to change this to keep your stream nice and clear. Also, this section here, the encoder section, is quite important. So if you're running like a laptop or something that has an external hardware encoder, or like a video card, it's really, really good to use that. So rather than just having it run on the software, which is the default, actually, just drop it down to your video card or your hardware, because it just takes a little bit of the pressure off your, like the first layer of your computer will stop it getting so hot and malfunctioning quickly, in my case. Yeah, and then in the way of audio bitrate, that's usually just fine, so just keep that as it is. That is the hardest part, by the way. That is like the most complicated bit. So then,
sorry, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
With all of this bit here, is this something you're doing at the same time as streaming what you're doing?
This is something that it's something you can do if you need to do it, if something's going wrong and you're already streaming, but you set all of this first and you run a test and you see that everything's okay, first of all, because yeah, this would be very complicated to do, but it is possible to do it if you need to. Yeah, so then
sorry, so this is basically you do this first off, and then if you have problems you may need to go back in and tweak. Is that
exactly? Yeah. And you might find that often you won't need to change these things and they'll be there, but just in the situation where you're like, nothing's working, everything looks terrible, my stream keeps crashing, these are things that need to be changed. It's always worth checking everything on the first kind of instance. And
sorry, I have another question.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry. And the changes that you make on this, so like things like, I was sort of thinking about the video settings and stuff like that, if it's slightly stretched, that's how it appears on your screen. Presumably that's also how it would appear on everybody else's. So if it's not right on yours, it's never going to be right.
Yeah, exactly.
Anywhere. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So what you're outputting it has to be, just make sure it's right for you. Twitch will correct it for whatever device other people are using.
Okay.
So yeah, no worries. So this part is pretty simple, the recording part. So this is just, if in OBS you're able to record your stream. You're also able to use it to do things like record anything on the internet that you want. You can literally use OBS to not that you would, but you can. You can you can output anything at all, and just save it onto your computer. So this is your recording path, and you just save it to whatever you want. So you can just, mine's just in my movies section. You can change it to your desktop. It's just where it's going to save your video to. And then you have the option for recording quality, and you have a really high quality lossless huge file type here, something that's just a little less heavy on your computer. You then have a medium one, and then same as stream, which, I mean, unless you're thinking of projecting it larger or doing something else with it, same as stream is fine. If you're compromised for space on your computer at all, I'd go with that. If it is, yeah, I mean, I'm always a little bit of a, I'm not a quality snob, so if you're into quality, just go for, whack it up to the highest or middle. But yeah, everything, because you've already set your stream to be nice quality. If it's the same as your stream, it will be fine as a file. And then you have the choice of recording format. MP4 is just a nice universal kind of file type that most people will be able to open and use, that isn't dependent on their device. So I'd usually go for that, unless you know that you need a different format of video for whatever you're doing. Yeah, and then this, don't worry about this part. You don't need to worry about that part. Another thing, just briefly, that might be quite handy down the line is this. So you can change your hotkeys. So you can basically add any key combination to shortcut any of these things. So if you wanted to, you've got loads of like mics and other devices, and you just want to be able to reach over to start your stream by pressing whatever, you can set it to that. And you can do it for all of the things, all of the buttons basically, on OBS. So that's kind of a cool thing if you ended up needing to use that. And then, yeah, I'm gonna just very briefly do this because it's just ends up being too much information. So there is, that's all set. Don't worry about this. The recording file name formatting, you can actually change that if you want. If you've got, like, if you're really into having your files in a particular order, like date or time, and it will show up like that on everyone's computer, you can do that, but you don't have to do that. And then the other thing that's quite helpful here is your stream delay. So if you wanted like a 20-second count in before you start your class, you can set that here. 20 seconds is the default. You can do it 5 minutes. So if you wanted to start a class or start a show or something, and have 5 minutes, say if you're presenting and you have to do, I don't know, a costume change, it's something that you can add in there. And then this part here, the automatically reconnect section, is quite a good thing. If you ever have any internet problems, it will just retry to connect your stream after however many seconds you choose here. So if it's like, you know, someone always kicks your internet out while you're doing something, then you know you have X amount of seconds to run back to it to plug it back in and blah blah blah, which is quite a nice feature. And you can set it to retry like 20 times or 100 times or whatever. And that's basically it for all of the really horrible technical bits that you may or may not need, but are really good to know, because it's one of those things that you're like, it's not working and I don't know why. So I thought I'd just kind of run through that. So then I'm gonna just really briefly I'm just going to add like a new scene, take away a new scene, add like a bit of media and move it around and show you how you can do that sort of stuff, which is, it's quite nice and easy, but I'll just give you an overview. So to add a new scene, you just press the plus button, which is quite nice and simple. You should really name what that scene is, because otherwise it just gets a bit confusing. So so that's basically like, you know, if you were doing parts of a lesson, or you know, had different performance artists, you could just name that their name or the part of the lesson, and then you know really quickly that you can just cue it up. And so within this scene, you then can add your sources. So again, it's just that plus button. And you have a kind of a little pop-up window that comes up like this, and you can add something like an image or text or video capture device. I'm going to go with that because it's one of the slightly more complicated and less just self-explanatory ones. So once you've clicked on your whatever you want, your media, you then click add source, and then you can name the source. So I'm not sure what I'm going to add yet, but you can then call it whatever. So like webcam 1 or webcam in dog kennel or whatever you're doing. I'm not sure what you're going to use it for. So then you have the ability to click on this drop down, and you can add your webcam. That's just the one that's inbuilt in your computer, or if you have external cameras, they will be here too. So that's me again. And then you just press done. And then I'm here again. So this is what you'd see on your screen. So now your webcam is there on your screen for your stream. And what you can do with it is then change the size of it. So you can just be a little person up here or wherever you want, or you can make it the whole screen just by dragging these little sliders. There are also options to edit that source, which you can like change. There's lots of effects that you can use and change in here, but I don't know if my computer's going to cope with that right now. So there is an option to change. You can make it sepia, or like you can be black and white on your webcam and stuff like that. So there's that, and then I'm going to put a little bit of text in as well. So yeah, so you can basically just add that text in, and you can type whatever you want it to say. This is just some text that I made earlier, but you can type in whatever you want. It will give you the option when you go to text to just write, this is my stream, blah, 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 or like whatever you need. And yeah, so basically the last step is, once you're happy with all of this stuff, is then to go live, which is like the easiest part basically. So this is all ready to go. Oh, and also maybe I should just say how to remove stuff. So it's just the minus button. That's the same as the plus button, pretty simple. Yeah, and you can do the same for scenes as well. So I'm going to get rid of that scene. Yes, I do. And so these are just some scenes that I put in earlier, and I'm going to go live. You can also record at the same time. I don't think that you have to press one or the other at any different time. I have just pressed record and then pressed go live. So, I mean, you can always try it the other way around. But anyway, so once I press go live, once you're kind of happy with what you have on the screen, it will come up with this thing. And then whatever accounts you have already linked up to Twitch, to OBS, like Twitch or Facebook Live or whatever, will just be here ready for you to click straight onto. So then you can click on to Twitch. You can also add text tags here from the drop down. So yeah, like whatever you think it is, it will then come up in those streams somewhere along the line. So you'll pick up other people for your channel if that's something you want to do. If it's not something that you want to do, then you don't have to do it. And then you can click confirm and go live. So then the nice feature about this is that you get your chat right here. So if you don't want to look at your Twitch account and you just want to be working on your stream through OBS without any distraction, you can see the chat there. So the people who are communicating with you through Twitch, it will just come up here because the two are linked up. But I'm going to show you what it is looking like now in Twitch. And yeah, you can see, even though my internet's horribly slow and not coping, that what is on the OBS screen will again appear on my Twitch stream in just a second, hopefully. So usually you've got maybe a couple of seconds delay in what's happening on your screen and what people will see on Twitch. Yeah, it will come up in a minute anyway. So I think while it loads, it might be there we go, it's here. So this is what's on the screen here, basically. So you will probably be able to see your stream a lot clearer than I can. But yeah, so basically it streams what you're seeing straight to here. Again, once you're going live, it's quite good. It's probably good actually even to do it before you go live, to go on your studio mode, and then you have the chance to see what you're queuing before you queue it. And that's about it really, I think. Does anyone have any questions?
I do, quite a lot.
Yeah.
Do you want to go, Sarah?
Oh, look, I had one, which was the one you're showing us now isn't the one you just created with the live stream and the hello.
Yeah, I just removed that because
I see.
Sorry, I removed it because when I try and use my webcam and run Zoom and show you what happens in, it's not, my computer is not up to it, basically.
Okay, right, that's fine. That's not a problem. Thank you.
No problem. Sorry about that. It's a bit confusing.
My question is about when because you've used this before for showing like different artists and what they're doing. Mm-hmm. That's right, wasn't it? So I'm sorry, this is probably really basic, but so are you getting the videos and images from all those different artists, and then you're kind of the puppet master behind in OBS, and
Exactly, yeah. Sorry,
and
go
are
on.
you doing that before you do the live stream, so you can kind of watch it as it happens, or are you doing it as it? So is it all done beforehand, and then you're literally pressing play and making sure that it's okay?
Yeah, it's all there beforehand. It's all queued up and ready. So like the videos that I'd inputted into the left hand side. Sorry, I've just had to close it, and I'm going to open it again because it's like not working very well.
Oh, I think I remember where. Yeah, the scenes.
Scenes, exactly. Yeah. Basically, your scenes would be like, you know, Suzanne's performance, Pat's performance, and you have it there and ready. You can output as well to a live performance from somewhere else, but that is another kind of more complicated thing. So if you you can just have those ready and queued up. You have your transitions ready and queued up for each one. So yeah, essentially it's like your desk. So everything's there, everything's ready for the live program. And yeah, you're pressing go, and then you have the ability to change stuff if things go wrong but they shouldn't, realistically, if you go through all of those settings.
Yeah. So it acts as a kind of, it's you're the producer essentially within that context.
Exactly, yeah. So it's, yeah, you're the producer, you're the kind of, yeah, you have the control of the buttons.
Mm.
So you're producing a recorded show which you then put live.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, because you can use another camera, you can have like a live host or live performance that you bring in from external sources. So yeah, it can be more live if you want to do like a scripted thing with your cameras, and then you want to bring in like, you know, like run a video while you're changing something, that's possible as well. But yeah, if it's something that you want to like double OK, like with the performances, then a large percentage of those performances are pre-recorded, just because it's easy then for you to just play the video rather than all of the technical scary live stuff. But it is possible to do from various sources and live.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's the live element that kind of you sort of, it stops my brain slightly because of the fear.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is scary. But then if you've got like, I watched this really hilarious drag Eurovision thing over YouTube Live using OBS, and they had like just this terrible like cat video stream that they just kept putting up every time something went wrong, which was really great, and I think is a great strategy for everyone's channel.
I love that.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with cat videos.
Exactly. So just have your like just in case cat video thing.
That's also a really nice touch as well, isn't it? Because it kind of takes it down from it being, we're not talking about professional. It's sort of, it makes it more accessible because it's less scary.
Yeah, exactly.
Wild West, isn't it? It's it seems to be
a bit more Wild West.
Yeah, which is very attractive actually. Yeah,
exactly. And yeah, it really doesn't have to, I think, you know, it doesn't have to be polished and by any means. And I don't think there are people who take it very seriously, of course, but you know, I think a majority of the people are there because it's a fun and accessible way for people to kind of share stuff rather than, you know, like it has to be BBC quality all the time.
And do people use it a lot with the chat functionality as well? Is it largely like, I mean, when you do the double OK stuff, do you anticipate that people are going to be interacting with you?
Yeah, so basically with the chat you have a little bit more custom, like you can customize it a little bit more, so you can kind of decide who can comment. You can also not have a chat, but that's kind of not really the done thing on Twitch. And you can also filter out keywords, so if people use like certain offensive words or whatever, it just blocks the comment, which is quite a helpful thing sometimes depending on your stream. So yeah, it's very about the chat really, which is I think it's quite nice. It's quite a good kind of feature, because I don't know about you, but I always find like in Zoom you have your chat here, but then sometimes it will just like go away, or like you can't find it, and it's like I'm having a conversation but I'm also trying to find the thing in there, but it's always right there in OBS, so it's kind of a bit easier in a way.
It's really interesting, thank you.
I think it's a lot of information, and I apologize for that, that it is a lot of like horrible techie stuff that's not very fun.
But then, as you say, it's the techie stuff that kind of, you know, it largely all of that stuff is going to be there anyway, and it's more about playing with how to make it work for you, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, totally. And it's like I say, you can input anything, and you can really play around with how it looks on the screen and how the sound comes through. And that's kind of the nice thing about starting off and not having any followers, or like, you know, that isn't your interest. It's like you can stream and go live and then be like, oh, add another picture in, or like, okay, gonna go to the toilet, put the cat videos on, or, you know, so it's quite nice. It's a really nice thing to play with.
And sorry, I missed the very beginning. I don't know if you talked about this, but I don't use any editing, like I'm a real newbie at tech stuff. But in terms of video editing, does it have built-in editing for the videos, or do you have to, when you load a video as a source, if that's how it works, then does that have to be in its final state, or can you edit it within this platform?
So it is possible to edit in OBS. Just by dragging. So if you wanted to crop something out, you can drag your screen bigger. You can change the shape of it in a similar way to just pulling it out. And then you can also, with that record feature, if you wanted to just take like a little bit of a video, you can then record just a little bit of the video, like a clip, and then save it separately and then input it back in.
Right, yeah.
So it does have a couple of features where you can change stuff like that. And like I say, you can also explore like changing things to black and white, or contrast and stuff like that in there as well. So yeah, it is like a very simple video editor as well.
Thank you.
Sarah, the one we've used at Jelly a lot that you can use on your phone is Splice, and it's a free editing tool. As long as you don't press anything with a blue thing on it, because you have to pay for them. But Emma's used that a lot, and all the videos that Linda made and Katie Herriot made.
Isn't iPhone specific though?
No, it's on Android as well, I think, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
I think so.
I'll try
It's very intuitive. It's like my when my daughter was 8, she started using it and creating.
Yeah, that'd be right. Yeah.
Honestly, you know, it's incredibly simple to use, and it does produce really good quality stuff. I mean,
that's really good to know.
Her videos
so that would be the thing to use in advance of loading stuff into OBS, would be something like Splice, and then you would load it into OBS as a source.
It does make it a whole lot easier if everything's just ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's really helpful actually, because I'm looking for a free editing software. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. That's a really good tip, Suzanne and Kate.
Yeah, so I think other than that, I'm not sure. I think I've basically covered most things. If you go about using it and you run into any issues, you can contact me and just ask me questions about it as you go, because sometimes it's just the kind of simple things that I get really confused about, and I've gone through it. So yeah, just drop me an email or anything like that is good. I can put my email in the chat if you want it.
That would be great, Holly, because I think, I don't know about everyone else's brain, but
It's one of those things though, isn't it? Because you can see the possibilities with it. It's just getting your head round that little bit of tech at the beginning.
Yeah, it is. And
things like the speeds and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I
hate stuff like that. It's numbers and numbers and looking at stuff and don't like it at all.
But I suppose once you're set with whatever you're using, it should just be the same.
Yeah, and it will just save it as that forever. So it's that initial horrible, like, I have to work all of this stuff out, but then it's just there, and you can then play and experiment and do whatever you want with it, which is really, it's worth the numbers. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So if we hop onto the Double OK channel, is it this evening? I thought I saw something this evening on your schedule. Or what have you got coming up so we can see what you do? That would be
so Double OK. I'm actually only a little bit affiliated with, but they have got a show Friday at 8, but there is that's in the reading list as well, but I'm just going to copy the link for tickets into the chat now. Friday at 8, and it should be really, really cool. The last one was really, really nice, and you have an option to chat and like look at the performance and stuff, and I'm gonna go. It'll be exciting.
Yeah, I think Kate and Emma both went, because that's when Emma was talking about Twitch. I was at something in real life somewhere. I can't remember where I went.
That was before I that was on my old laptop, and it just didn't cope with it, so it kept kicking me out. But it was rubbish. Overheated every 10 seconds. So I'll give another go.
It's streaming on YouTube primarily, which means that you don't need a YouTube account or whatever. You can just watch it straight there. So it should be good.
So why do they do that then? Why would you do both YouTube and Twitch?
So I actually think that they are just using Twitch as an advertisement, and they're going to just put a little thing up saying it's on YouTube, click through to YouTube, because they have some followers there. I think it is just YouTube. It's not going to be streaming on Twitch at all this time. But I don't know why they've changed over. I'm probably just to practice a different platform, maybe see what it runs like.
Right.
Yeah.
You can do it at the same time.
You can. Yeah, it is possible. So you know that bit where it came up with when you click go live.
Yeah.
And then you have the option for Twitch. You can also, if you've got another account like YouTube or whatever, you can stream to those at the same time, and people can watch at the same time, basically. So it's possible. You could do it on Facebook Live and Twitch and YouTube all at the same time if you wanted to, which, I think you need a little bit more of a powerful computer to do that, but you can do it. It's possible.
Down to it.
But maybe it's something to do with ticketing as well. I'm not sure the reason that they did it like that for this Friday. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Is there anything that's like really unclear, or I mean, you're probably just like frazzled? There's a lot of info. Cool.
No, I think it's just one of those things that you have to go in and have a try.
Yeah, you really do. It's like I can explain it, and
Yeah.
it's still just going to be confusing until you do it. Because my friend Eden's really, really good at using it, and he was talking me through it on the phone, and I was like, I don't know what you're saying, it doesn't make any sense. Why are you saying that? I don't know what it means. And then once I started playing with it, I was like, oh, I get what he was saying about that now.
So having stock is really helpful as well for that.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, I suppose it's one of those tools that potentially, because of its capabilities, will change what you thought you were going to do in the first place with it, because you will find there are other things you can do. So have you found that to be the case with what you're doing? That it has allowed you to do things you hadn't even thought of doing, or that it's taken you in a different direction?
Yeah, massively. Like I've started, so I make kind of scanned work, and it's really cool because you can record your screen. So I can record my scans as they appear on screen, which is a nice like video kind of addition to the actual still images. So there's loads of stuff that you'd never even think that you'd,
Yeah.
and you're like, actually that's really cool, and I'm going to use that. Wow, like it's really cool. And actually a lot of the stuff that I did wrong was quite interesting as well, but that's just kind of, I'm really into like all of my mistakes that I make with tech being actually what I use. So, but yeah, it looks cool. Like all of the mistakes, you're kind of like, actually that's maybe a bit better than if it ran smoothly.
It's always the way.
Bloopers are always the best.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Cool.
Thank you, Holly. I think I'm going to stop recording and then